Hey guys. Thanks for coming out. We all appreciate it. We're excited to bring this class to you. There's so much information to cover. We're going to try to get all of our presentations done in like 90 minutes and leave 20, 30 minutes at the end for questions. So do your best to absorb all of it. We're going to send you the slides. We're going to record it, obviously, and we'll send you the video of the whole presentation. So really just try to embrace the concepts to the best of your ability, and we're going to tear through a ton of slides today. But the real purpose for why we're doing this is because we want you all to be more confident as digital marketers for your own business. There's so many smoke and mirrors out there. There's so many companies who will send you fluffy proposals. And you're all vulnerable if you don't understand the basic concepts that we're going to go over today. Our goal is to simplify it so that you're not so susceptible to fluffy proposals and people kind of promising you the world and these get-rich-quick marketing schemes, and here's the new hack for this month on social media. All that stuff is, some of it can work for the right people if implemented properly, but really what we want you to do is understand the fundamentals so you're less susceptible to that stuff and that you can commit to your own strategy that works within your business, that works within your team, and you do it for the long run without giving up or being distracted by all these other smoke and mirror sort of distractions out there, because there's a lot of them in the social media space. So without further ado, I'll get into it. Obviously, Jen gave us a great intro, so I won't waste too much time here. But myself, Sara, and Dustin, I'm the social media guy. Dustin's the web developer, and Sara's the copywriter, and also does some web design as well. So between the three of us, you're going to hear a lot of overlapping concepts, but we all come at it with a different angle of expertise, and I think you're gonna get a lot out of all of us. So again, number one goal is confidence. Reason being, I work with tons of businesses. I'll give you a little of my background. So I'm a social media manager, and I do the day-to-day posting for businesses of all shapes and sizes, which means I'm really heavily involved in getting to know my clients, working with their teams, figuring out what they're capable of doing on their cell phones for video or higher-end video or whatever it is. And through all industries, through all sizes of teams, the number one distractor from success is just a lack of confidence and lack of real clear vision. You give up after 6 months because you weren't really sure if it was going to work anyway, so you give up. That's the biggest mistake you can make. So we're trying to get you to be confident in how you invest your time, be confident in how you invest your budget, and avoid as many common mistakes as possible. So first, just kind of high level, broad understanding of what the goal really is here. I'm sure many of you online have heard lots of talk about funnels, and that's the big buzzword. You need a funnel, you have to do funnel hacking tricks and all this stuff. And so to sum it up, the only funnel you really need to worry about is everything goes back to your website, and all of your other social media profiles and all the other ways that you're visible online just all track back. So it's a pyramid to the top to your website. Everything that we do is just built with that goal. Get people to your website or to whatever your landing page is, whatever action you want them to take. And all the social media platforms are just tools to get that to happen, essentially. So number one, owning and understanding all of your accounts. This is something that when I go into a new business, I see all the time. The admin of the Facebook page is an old employee who set it up 5 years ago, and we have to text a code to their phone, and they're in Mississippi now, and we're never going to hear back. You're the owner of the business. You have to own and be the highest level admin on all of your accounts, understand how they all work and talk to each other and are synced together, because you can't really do anything productive if you're still untangling all of your accounts. You don't really know how they're all connected. That is absolutely crucial. And then before you actually start, it's always good to rebrand. Do new logo, new color, new fonts, all that before you actually commit to the next 5 years on social media. Really get your brand right first. So that's getting started, essentials. Your Google business profile is extremely important and valuable and so neglected by so many people. lots of people don't even know that they can log in or access their Google business profile. If they know they can get in, they didn't know they could post on it and update it regularly. And that is extremely valuable. So making sure that you're in on your Google business profile, you understand how to publish updates, new photos, you have control over how you're viewed on Google. It doesn't all have to be, you see like restaurants where like all of the pictures are like really crappy, like customer cell phone photos. It doesn't have to be that way. You can upload your own professional photos to your Google business profile. You can show behind the scenes stuff from what you guys are doing and have total control over that, just like you do your Facebook or Instagram page. So that's a huge one. And again, my focus is social media, so I'm just going to give you guys the strategy. There's really no secrets here. That's the goal, is to demystify all of this stuff. So all you're trying to do on social media is maximize your connections. We're local businesses. We're not influencers. We're not trying to go viral. We're all people who see the value in showing up to networking events for the chamber. We know the value of one connection, one cup of coffee. It's all worth it to the people in this room. Social media is just meant to enhance that for us. It's not meant to change your life overnight. You're never going to post one video that like totally changes your whole business. It's about one connection after another, and appreciating that actual concept and really like committing to that is super, super valuable. All you're trying to do is post as much as you can, the best stuff that you can, sustainably. That doesn't mean saying, I'm going to leave here today and I'm going to start posting every single day. That's never going to happen. You're going to burn out in 3 weeks, and then you're going to say Facebook doesn't work, and you're going to stop forever. What I actually want you to do is say, can I actually commit to 1 post a week, 2 posts a week, 3 posts a week? Can you do that for 6 months? 2 posts a week for 6 months. It's harder than you think when you actually commit to it. Then through that consistency and commitment to the process and learning the platforms, doing it yourself, getting those couple posts a week out there, you uncover all the processes that you need to do it more efficiently, who you might need to hire to take some of it off of your plate. And that's the goal, is like to get you guys to a place where you understand what you're actually trying to accomplish, so that you can do it yourself just good enough so that you actually understand it well enough to eventually outsource it and take it to the next level. But you can't outsource it if you've never really done it yourself. So I'm going to talk more about that later. But post as much as you can, keep your messaging consistent, and then run some light Google and Facebook ads in your local area, 10, 15 mile radius from here, and you're golden. Like there's no reason that posting as much as possible, connecting with as many people as possible through networking, and running some Facebook ads of your best posts won't work. Like you will grow. More people in the chamber will start to see you. I ran a $50 boost to promote this event, and I bet half of you guys saw it. And so that stuff is super valuable. Some more quick social media tips. Again, consistency is everything. Find inspiration from other people in your industry who are doing a better job than you. Choose your role models. Some people are crushing it on Instagram. They have 5,000, 10,000 followers, and they get a lot of business. Find those people who are local to Boston, to Worcester, and do your best to emulate them. They might be better than you at the start, but everybody starts somewhere. You all start on your cell phones. And so post by post, you get better. You start to learn the platforms. You start to get your workflows down. And you just do your best. That is my best advice. Do not give up on it. And then you slowly post more and slowly increase the quality over time. But that could mean over the course of 3 or 4 years that you go from like cell phone videos the first year, then you get like a microphone, then you start like, hire a video guy 2 years later, and like work your way up to everything. But don't dive all in if you don't have an understanding of the basics. I always use a content calendar with my clients to stay organized. So if we're doing, 3 to 5 posts a week, we have it all laid out way in advance. So you're looking forward a couple months. What's going on in your business in May, June, July that you need to start posting about in April. And then you start planning those posts in March. Like everything has to be way further out, like 2 or 3 months out. Then you're not frantically thinking like, well, what am I going to post today? Like you've already got it all mapped out. You fill out a content calendar beforehand and you know which topics are, going to be covered, which events you need to promote and things like that. So that's huge. Just the organizational like back end ends up being like 90% of the job. Getting the actual post out is the easy part. The planning, the shooting of the video, the making of the graphic way in advance, that's really where the magic is made. So here's where we get serious. Again, I mentioned it in the intro, but there's a lot of shady marketing companies out there, like the car mechanics of marketing companies. And our goal is to save you guys from them and to protect you. So you don't get upcharged for things you don't need because you didn't understand it, so they sold it to you. Like, so many people are so susceptible to those sorts of things, and it's sad to see. When I started my business, it was knocking on doors for a whole summer and going and looking at proposals for small business owners and seeing like how much fluff was in those proposals, like became my why instantly. And I've been at it for almost 10 years now, just trying to preach like having a real understanding of this stuff so you don't get screwed is so important. Because boy, do they know how to upsell you. Creating your own processes, doing it yourself for 6 to 12 months. Like if you be your own social media manager for 6 to 12 months before you outsource for it, so you actually understand what you're paying that person to do. That's so important. Want to touch on the mystical SEO. This is like the number one question everybody always asks, right? Like, what is SEO and how do I improve my SEO? For those who aren't familiar, SEO is search engine optimization, which basically just means helping you get found easier on Google, raising your Google rankings. Everybody wants to be number one. So people always ask, how can I be number one on Google? I just want to be the most well-known plumber ever. That's like the broad goals that we hear. I'm going to demystify it very quickly for you. And these guys are going to go way deeper into SEO so you really understand the functions behind it. But just to demystify it, it's all tangible stuff. If you're blogging a lot, if you're posting a lot on social media, you're enhancing your overall digital presence. Post by post, brick by brick, all of the things that you put out into the world are like deposits into your SEO. So there's website stuff that you can do, there's Google stuff that you can do. In my opinion, social media is a huge part of SEO because the more you post on Facebook, Instagram, like some of those posts will trickle into Google searches even. A Facebook video could pop up on Google. So everything matters. But the main point that I want to make on SEO is that they're all tangible services. You don't need to pay someone $500, $800 a month for like updating your keywords monthly on your website. You do like a one-time update on your website when you build the website, make sure all the meta tags are right, and Dustin and Sara are going to touch on that a lot. But ongoing, it's actual posts, actual blogs, producing new content that puts you out there as an expert in your industry. That is what Google looks for when it comes to SEO. At the end of the day, Google is just trying to be a good boy. Google wants to be a good search engine. It's trying to find the websites in the local area. When you search local plumber or local restaurant, it's trying to find the best one, the most robust website, the one that has the best information that it seems like people are actually reading or staying on their website looking for more information. Dustin and I share an interior design client. If she's posting really, really good interior design information and people are actually reading her blogs and staying on the website, that's awesome for SEO. So there's no smoke and mirrors there. It's like produce good stuff regularly, and over time, each post, each blog post, update, whatever on the website adds up, and that's how over time, you enhance your SEO. Hopefully that simplifies, and I know I'm going really, really fast, and we could literally do a day on like just Facebook. So it's tough to kind of condense all of this, but my goal is to get you guys to understand that it's not rocket science. We're just trying to be consistent, put ourselves out there like on a regular basis and show ourselves authentically online. So what is the holdup? The biggest common mistakes that I see working with small, medium-sized business owners, it's really easily diagnosable for me because I work with so many industries. So like the common denominators for me are really clear. I end up dealing with the same issues no matter who the business is or how big they are. It's either an improper allocation of resources, so you're spending money on things that don't work, or spending time on things that you don't really need to be spending time on. So a lack of understanding of the prioritization, or you have an unreasonable or unspecific expectation for what your marketing is actually going to bring you. So getting those two things figured out, understanding really what you need, which you can't unless you do it yourself for a while, and actually figure out like, oh, I'm actually good at making cell phone videos and editing videos, and I'm pretty quick with it. So I don't really need a video editor, but I do need a copywriter, or I do need this to take this off my plate. Every single one of you are different. Every single one of your teams are different. So it's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all thing. It's something you have to sort of grind out and figure out what things you need to outsource. And it puts you in a better position to outsource when you understand this stuff. Or it's unreasonable or unspecific goals. Again, saying I just want to be the most well-known blank in the world or in the area. I just want, like, I hear it all the time. I just want everybody to know about me. And like, yeah, you and everybody else wants that. So it's a competition to see who's better at putting themselves out there. You have to network harder. You have to make more individual real life connections. Add all of those people on social media, and then be really good at social media and DM people, have coffee with them, and then do a video with them and tag them so they share it. Like every single one of those things that you do adds up over time. And we're playing like a 5 or 10 year game when we're talking branding, when we're talking reputation, we're talking like really becoming like the one in the industry. That's a 10-year plan. That's not a 6-month like, oh, if I hire the right marketing company, I'll be like miraculously like just at the top. It doesn't work that way. But a lot of companies will tell you it does, and that's what we're trying to make you be aware of. So, little homework for you guys. Literally the strategy that I would say like you should work towards. Every small business in this room should probably be working towards this if you're not already. Make sure your website represents you properly. They're going to talk a ton about that. Update your website as regularly as you can so Google can see you're great. They're going to talk a ton about that. Post 2 to 3 times a week for 6 months. Really get in that routine. Like, build systems, get better, get faster with graphics, get faster with your phone editing videos. Like, really grind that out and strive for 2 or 3 posts a week. And then slowly increase frequency and quality over time. And then run those local Google and Meta ads. Play around. $50 goes a long way if you boost it towards just Holden. If you have like a good video, you're talking about a certain topic, and you just have to get the word out about something that's on your mind in the industry. If that post does better than the rest, you're like, oh, like a couple people shared that one. It's actually like resonating. Put $50 into that post, boost it in your local area. Don't expect to get a bunch of phone calls, but do expect more of the people who you see at the chamber, more of the people who you see around town to see that video. And then, 3 months later, they might think of you. Or you might pick up a couple followers from a light Facebook ad like that. And you have to remember the value of every individual view at our level as local businesses. We're not trying to get 10,000 views. We're not trying to hack the video so the first 5 seconds is completely perfect so you get like 40,000 views. You're just trying to meet new people who are like actually valuable to your business. So an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 views on a video is great. And if you spend $50 on a Facebook ad, you're going to reach an extra couple thousand people in town. And there is value there, especially when it's not just a flyer. You're actually targeting people who are interested in cleaning services or interested in plumbing right now. They're searching for those things. You have total targeting flexibility on Facebook and Google. So you're spending money more effectively by hitting the right people. If you do these things, these are like real fundamental things. If you do these things for a year, 2 years, and you stay consistent and you don't give up, you will grow. You may not be famous, but you will grow. You'll make more connections and obviously you have to do a good job as well. Generating positive reviews, actually building a good reputation, continuing to network and build as many relationships as you can. But this is foolproof. Like it can't not work. It just comes down to like how quickly will it work for you, and there's tons of variables at play. So a lot there. This is my info, QR code. How am I doing on time?
Great.
Pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Do you guys have any questions? Again, we're going to do questions like once you hear from these two. I know I went through a lot there. So just on the social media side of things, like 5 minutes for questions.
So yeah, my question is, I've heard that it's better to be really good on one social media platform as opposed to being like everywhere.
That could be true. It just depends on your industry. But there's also something to be said about diversifying your platforms so that if something happens with Instagram or something happens with TikTok, for example, you're not, all of your eggs aren't in that one basket. But like the main priorities are typically Facebook, Instagram, and your Google business profile. If you can do a really good job on those, I mean, those platforms are pretty much here to stay at this point.
And Instagram is connected to Facebook.
Yep. So making sure your Meta Business Suite is set up properly is key. Yeah. Yep. So the Meta Business Suite is like the mothership that links your Facebook and Instagram account, and then you have a Meta Ads account that allows you to run Facebook and Instagram ads. So making sure those accounts are set up properly is huge up front.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Russ, Laura here. Can you speak to, I recognize and understand the relationship building part, right? But can you speak to adding people you know and people you don't know to your, say, Facebook account? So I have a personal page,
Yep.
and then I have my business page. Well, obviously people aren't just going to say, oh, I want to be her business friend. I want to be her real friend.
Yep.
But I get probably, and it means I know it means I'm doing something right, but I get probably 4 to 5 a week people that are random from all over the country and world that I don't want to be friends with. Like, it just feels uncomfortable to me. And so I know I could potentially be, maybe they are living in California and they're looking for a health coach, but is that probably not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're vetting people properly. Like if it seems like just somebody who's totally on the other side of the country and you have no reason to connect with them, then you don't have to. Just make sure you connect with everybody locally that you do know on your personal page, and then share as much from the business account to your personal page as possible. So that way people who are friends with you know that if they want to consume the business content, you have to go follow them. A lot of people make the mistake of like posting way too much business stuff on their personal account, and then there's no reason for anyone to follow your business page because you're posting everything on the personal account. So making sure you have that like purpose, like I'm using my personal account for networking and adding like local people as friends so that they see it when I share the businesses page stuff. And you can invite all of your friends to follow the Facebook page. So doing that like every couple months is great too. As you add new friends, you always want to keep inviting them to like the page.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you think that, or do you have an opinion on whether the videos are more effective or just like a post?
I'm glad you asked that.
The posts used to be really popular, but now everybody's doing reels. And
Yep.
with the videos, is there an app that makes the editing easier?
Yep.
Like all those little BAM videos. It just takes so much time.
Yes, it's always going to take time. Even with like the apps on the phone, you still have to edit the video. Like CapCut is the one that I use. That's probably the most popular.
Desktop version of that too, if you guys hate your phone.
Yep, CapCut, CapCut. So you can upload videos. It's probably the best tool right now for subtitling your videos. So you get those captions that pop up. Like that's really valuable. But I have right here, there is no perfect post. It is about experimentation. So I'm very glad you asked this question, because I knew somebody was going to say, well, are videos better than graphics? And yeah, I mean, yeah, 90% of the time, a video with the same information as a graphic is going to do better, but there's a time and a place for a graphic too. If you're promoting an event, sometimes it's better to have a graphic, so like all the information, date, time, location are all in one place and easily consumable. A video is better for like long form explanation of stuff or doing more trendy things. Documenting job sites, video obviously has its place. But there's no perfect post, and every business is different. You might be a really great writer who's awesome at making graphics that are like those swipeable posts where like you keep reading and you swipe to read the next card on Instagram. If you're a great writer and you have something valuable to say, and you're good at like getting somebody's attention with the first slide and then providing good information as they swipe, that is going to be a way more valuable post to you than if you're like trying to do a video, but you're like really awkward on video and you're like, I hate this. You know, like you're going to do better like it really is like a creative sort of art too. Like you have to tap into your creative side and do things that you think are fun and good. And like if you're forcing yourself to make a graphic every day, but you hate graphic design, your graphics are going to suck. So do what you actually enjoy doing. And that's why inspiration is so important. Find other accounts who are doing things that you think you would enjoy doing too. Like, oh, I could make that video. That'd be so fun. Or not. You know, and everybody's different. So experimenting. And that's why I say like committing to the 3 posts a week as like a hard rule is so important, because then it opens you up to be like, I'll try this. I'll try that. It doesn't have to be the same thing every time. We transfer over to Sara.
Sure. You have one more question. Jen has a
One more?
question. One more. Do this while
I don't know.
answer.
Did you say anything about LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn's great too.
Because it's a different, you
yeah.
know, I noticed that it's a different kind of post versus the social media of the Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just wondering about, you know, everybody says it's a timing thing. You know, if you time it at like 6 o'clock, you're going to have more people are.
No.
It's just.
That's not, like, yeah, sure. Like, sure. People get home from work at 6 o'clock. Okay, post at 6. But also, if you post at noon, they're probably going to see it at 6. Or like they're like it's not like it's only you're not only hitting people when they're online.
So the timing really doesn't matter.
Not as much as people think. There's no rule that you see on Instagram or like somebody tells you like this is what you have to do. Like no, none of that's true. You just play around with it. Post whenever you can. I'd rather see you post 5 times a week at random times than be like, I missed the 6 o'clock window. I'm not even going to do it. You know, like a post is better than no post. So.
And I'm sure that if you have a lot of data and you're in a really big company and you're getting 40,000 impressions a post,
right.
Maybe you can find a 1 or 0.5% increase by posting at 6 versus 5 or something. But like the value of just continuing posting and following a strategy where you're constantly posting, what's natural for you, I think will yield you a better result than trying to inch out 1% here by the time.
Just one question, sorry. Is there value in being active on the platform before your post goes live or something? Like, is it going to increase your visibility if you are more active in general, liking and commenting on
Yes.
things? For sure.
Yeah. Overall, like definitely interacting with other accounts helps you grow and puts you out there more. Yeah.
Yeah. If you think about it, if you go to a chamber event and I come up to you with my 50-50 raffle and I start talking to you, you're going to remember me. But if I'm in the corner and I say nothing, you're not going to remember me. Social media is the same. I feel like if you forget and you listen to people talk about what you're supposed to do and you're supposed to post, you forget that it's a social media platform. Like, you're supposed to make connections with people. So, of course, it's going to help when you're commenting and you're liking stuff. People are going to be like, oh, yeah, that's that girl who writes websites. She commented on my Instagram. Like, she said, I looked good in this picture, whatever. So if you're engaging with other people, that's really going to increase your visibility, too. So not as much about, well, of course, it's about posting, but you also have to be a person engaging with posts for people to see you and like you.
Perfect transition. Go.
Okay, I didn't even do that on purpose. Hi guys, I'm Sara. So we're going to talk about how to attract your dream clients. But first, this is me for those of you that don't know me. I'm Sara. I'm a website copywriter, marketing mentor, unapologetic squirrel, and I will be swearing. So that just means I have ADHD and I talk fast. And it's important to me that you know you will get these slides after the presentation if you use my little QR code. So I'm going to go quickly because I have a lot to share with you. So you'll see some little sticky notes here and some pens. I want to know which one you are if we're talking about your website, getting people to your website. So if you're number 1, you don't know anything at all about when it comes to, you're finding your ideal client or making money. If you're a 2, you understand the basics, but when you try to make it happen, like get, people to inquire through your site or get people to your site, you don't know what's going on. If you're a 3, you think you know enough about your ideal client avatar, but not much about the action piece. And if you're a 4, you're super confident about attracting your ideal clients. You're just here for the vibes. You just want to hang out with us. So write on your little sticky note. Oh, I went too fast. And then hold up your number. Tell me which one you are. And while you guys write that down, like I said, a little bit more about me. So if you were to follow me anywhere, you would see that I call myself Website Girl. So I'm a website copywriter, which means I write all of the words that go on your website. I help people find your website, and I help you sound like you on your website. So I teach people how to write website copy. I write website copy for people. I teach copywriters how to be website copywriters. So that's what I mean by Website Girl. So anything, Russ mentioned about SEO, I can answer your question. And we're going to talk a lot today about how to get people to your website. As you just learned, social media is a part of that. But if you hate social media, sorry, Russ, if you hate social and you never want to have an Instagram account in your life, I'm going to tell you 3 other ways you can get people to your site if you're like, I actually can't implement anything that man just said. So sorry. So which one are you? Hold up your little sticky notes here. We got some 3s. I'm going to walk around. I actually have horrible vision. Okay, we got 2 to 3. I knew Marie would have a 3.5. 3, 2. Okay. We got some 2s in the room. Maureen, yours should be better than a 2. Come on. We have a 1 around here. That's great. Good thing I have something to teach literally all of you right now, so no big deal. Okay, so I want to know, what do you think these 3 magical ways I'm going to talk about to help you find your dream clients online are? So I just said it's not social media. If you have an idea of what you think it might be, you can yell it out. Email. Yep, that's one. Blogging. Yep, that's another one. Newsletter. Yep, that would go with email for sure. I am newsletter queen. Ads. I'm actually not going to mention ads. That is a way, but today I'm teaching you only free strategies, so $0 involved. Anybody know the last one? I'll give you a hint. Russ mentioned it, but it wasn't social. SEO, yep. So SEO, blogging, and email are what we're going to talk about today. Like I said, I talk fast. I'm going to go through these a little bit fast because I've never been on a 30-minute time crunch in my life, and I'm scared. So I'm going to send you these slides after this. But yeah, we're going to talk about SEO, blogging, and email. But before we can get there, we need to talk about who your right people even are. So I'm going to talk a lot about dream clients, and I'm going to tell you my strategies for selling to these people. But first, we need to define who these people even are. So we're going to talk about defining what I'm going to call your target audience, your dream client, your ideal customer, all interchangeable, just the person that's going to give you money to do the thing that you're good at. That's what I'm talking about. So who are the right people? Oh, my formatting is kind of weird. Pretend like this font's cute. Okay, first things first. The right people are the people who are definitely interested in working with you or buying from you. People who are considering the possibility of working with you or buying from you, people who could potentially want to do that in the future, and then people who won't work with you or buy from you at all, but are likely to consume your content and recommend you to their friends. So somebody who has their credit card in hand, ready to swipe, wants your services right now, and somebody who's like, oh, my neighbor actually mentioned she needs some new blinds. Like, do you know anyone? Maybe I'm going to call Marie. Okay, what do you need to know to market to them? This font is stressing me out, guys. I swear it was cuter before. I'm blaming Russ's computer. Okay, we need to know, who are they and what do they do? What are they currently dealing with and going through that you could help with or add to? What do they want and why do they want it? What do they really want? I'm going to give you an example of this in a minute. And then bonus, why are you the person or brand that can give that to them, and then how you are going to do it. So these are the things that you need to know about your ideal client and also yourself to effectively market to them so they actually want what it is you're selling. So I'm going to give an example of myself. Like I said, I'm a website copywriter, so I'm going to define my target audience for you real quick. So first, they're a service-based business owner or a creative small business owner. I have worked with other people. Just because I'm using this as my ideal example doesn't mean I won't work with other people. I've worked with product-based business owners. I worked with an Olympic gold medalist before. I've worked with a girl who teaches figure skating classes on ice. Like, I'll work with anyone who's nice to me and can afford it. So just because we're defining who our ideal is doesn't mean that we won't accept, somebody else's hard-earned cash. But Who is service-based business owner or creative business owner, and then their what and their why. So they want website copy that effortlessly speaks their ideal audience's language so that they can book more of their ideal clients. But what they really want is to have a website that consistently converts so they can have enough money to be on a beach somewhere and not work. So I think a lot of people stop at the want. Like, oh yeah, they want interior design services, they want cleaning services, they want a health coach, they want someone to help their grandma move. But what they really want is more money, peace of mind, more free time, like understanding. Like they want the thing that your service gives them, not just their service. So right, like you want the words on your site, but you also want your website to work for you so you can go to the Cape for the summer and take July off, like me. So why me specifically? This is something I need to define too. So why am I the person that's going to help them? It's great that I know they want website copy and they want website copy so they can make more money and have more flexibility in their business. But why am I the one that's going to help them, be able to do that? So I'm an expert in casual conversational website copy. You'll see throughout the presentation I'm very casual, and providing strategic yet laid back copywriting process that requires little work from my clients but still gets them great results. So once I'm able to define all of these things, now I can write about myself way easier. I know who I'm talking to. I know what I might want to say because I know what they want. So this is an example of a client of mine. She's an accountant, so her brand is called Peach Perfect Financials. Her name's Ansley, and she's a CPA for bloggers and content creators who are sick of explaining their careers to their accountants who don't take them seriously. She understands the value of great copy. She genuinely wants to serve her audience, and she knows what she does and who she does it for. These are all qualities I look for in an ideal client. That's going to be different for you, right? You're not all website copywriters, and if you were, you probably wouldn't be here because you wouldn't need to learn this stuff from me. So you're going to think about when, you're on your own time, you're considering how you might want to update your own marketing materials, you're going to think about who is an ideal client for you. So maybe it's somebody that you've worked with already. Maybe it's somebody who always pays on time. Maybe it's somebody who schedules their appointments way far in advance. Maybe it's someone who has $1 million to invest if you're a financial planner. Or maybe it's someone who's really serious about, their health and they really want to work with you so they can get back on track. Whatever it is, you want to think about them as a person, not them as a view, not them as a number, not them as an invoice, them as a person, because that's what's going to help you sell to them. Okay, so like I said, you're going to think a little bit about who your dream client is. So take a second to think about it, write it down. You don't have to show me, you don't have to, show anybody. This could be a secret if you want. It shouldn't be, but I give a couple examples here. So maybe, interior designers need a social media manager. Maybe it's women in their 40s trying to lose weight. Like I said, maybe it's former figure skaters looking for a place to work out on ice. You can tell these are all the ideal clients of people that I've worked with before. Single men in midlife looking for love. I wrote a website for a dating and image consultant. A business owner that knows who they want. Like I said, I work with anyone who's nice to me and can afford it. Normally I teach this online. That's why it says drop it in the chat. But like I said, I'll work with anyone who's nice. So now we're going to talk about how your next dream client is going to find you. I think a lot of people, especially local businesses, worry about how you're going to find your next customer, how you're going to find your next dream client. I'm actually going to help them find you. So first things first, your strategy one is SEO. So Russ touched on this a little bit. So search engine optimization is just the process of optimizing your website so you can get free organic traffic from search results. So this means I go and I search interior designer and Maureen comes up, or I search, financial planner and Jeff comes up, or I search cleaning services and my girl in the front comes up over here. That's all that it means, okay? So it's a set of practices designed to improve the appearance and positioning of website pages. People freak out over SEO. They think it's super complicated, super technical. It's really not that serious. I'll explain in a minute. So this is how it goes down. Step one, someone is interested in learning more about a given topic. Step number two, they head to their favorite search engine to look for more info. It's probably Google, but maybe they're weird like my dad and it's Bing. Step number three, your website comes up in what's called a SERP. This stands for Search Engine Results page. You don't really need to know that. It's just the page on Google. She's like, let me put my pen down. And then they click on you. And then step number four, somebody just searched for your site. So if I can give you a tangible example, if you search website copywriter right now, Google it, you'll find me. I come up first. If you're interested in, copywriting services, Google that. I also come up first. All it is putting the right keyword. Somebody fact check me. Google it right now. All it is putting the right keyword in the right places on your site. So there's no such thing as amount of times a keyword has to show up on a page. There's no real such thing as like the perfect keyword. You just want to focus on these two things. So you want to care about creating content for humans. As we know, this class is short, which stresses me out. But if you learn this one lesson, you'll be light years ahead of everybody else who thinks SEO is just throwing random keywords at a page. All you have to do is write like a human, because a real person is going to read it. So I think we forget that. Again, we're focused on the views and the numbers and the optimization of it all. In reality, there's a person on the other side of the screen with their credit card potentially looking for a website copywriter. They want to choose me or maybe somebody else, and they have the entire Google search results worth of people they could potentially pick, and they have a bunch of tabs open on their computer of me next to Sally, next to Susie, next to Sammy, and I want them to choose me. So cool, it's awesome that I show up number one for website copywriter, but if my website is boring and doesn't speak to my ideal client and it actually sucks, nobody's hiring me to do that. Like, there's a million other things that I need to focus on beyond just the keyword. So I think creating content for humans matters so much more than you realize. So quick aside, ranking on Google is not, there's like a recipe for it, sure, but I can't be like, yeah, sure, I can get you to number one. I can tell you every single thing I know about how to do that, and I can share how I've done that, but it's so much more in depth than that. So every time I've written a blog post where I've told a story, like a story about why I chose something, a story about how I ended up somewhere, I have a blog post that ranks number one that's called Show It versus Squarespace, which are two website hosting platforms. And I told the story of why I switched. Like, I was explaining, you know, what was going on in my life, whatever. That post ranks number one, yeah, because it has a lot of keywords, but it also has my perspective. So people don't understand how smart Google is. So it's beyond just, I put website copywriter in my headline, and then I put it in a subheading, and then I put it in my SEO title, and then I mentioned it 3 more times. Like, that's not why I rank for that specific keyword. I rank for it because I gave my perspective and shared my personality along with this other information. So your goal is to always be the best solution to the problem or the best answer to the question if you want to rank. So when you Google website copywriter, my homepage comes up because you are showing Google, my intention is I'm looking for a website copywriter. I maybe want to hire someone. So it makes sense that my homepage would come up. I'm the best answer to the question or the best solution to the problem. If you type in copywriting services, I come up because I'm the best solution to the problem. You want to invest in website copywriting services, here I am. If you're Googling Show It versus Squarespace, you're comparing those two website hosting platforms. You want someone who's going to break down in depth, you know, the best answer to your question, which is which website hosting platform should I choose? I'm answering that question the best, which is why I come up first. So I think if you learn nothing else about SEO, this is what I want you to take away from it. You need to be the best answer to the question or the best solution to the problem. So a lot of people will talk about SEO and like, okay, choose your perfect keyword, but you don't think about it in the context of your site. So if I chose, you know, for my homepage, how to write website copy, that's a totally different thing. Somebody wants to read a blog post about how to write website copy. They're not looking to hire a website copywriter. So the words that you use matter and how you use them matter, but this is the easiest way I can explain SEO. And if you have questions about that after the fact, by the way, come up to me and ask. Like, say, I do this. This is what my homepage looks like. I will literally tell you if the keyword that you're targeting is good or not, or what we can say instead. So the other thing you need to care about is user experience, because there is nothing that makes Miss Google happier than when the search results they recommend to someone are good enough, because at the end of the day, Google wants people to Google stuff. Like, that's the purpose. Google wants to be the best, you know, search engine out there. So when they send somebody to a site and then that person spends a bunch of time on that site, Google is like, ooh, I did a good job. Let me do that again. And then Google's going to keep sending people to that same page because they're like, oh, she liked it. So then maybe Marie will like it, and then maybe Jen will like it, and Russ will like it, and then everybody will like it. And we're going to give this girl the #1 spot because people love it. Look at me. I'm so good. I did such a good job at being Google. So user experience matters, and that is how people get to keep coming back for more searches. So that's a little too technical for today. We're going to move right on to elements directly related to SEO. And I think Dustin might be talking a little bit more about this. But all of these buzzwords here, keywords, metadata, website content, how easy it is to use, link strategy, these are all things that Google cares about. Essentially, all I'm saying is make your website easy to read, fun to read, and easy to use. And then that's it. Okay, so like I said, Google wants to give users the best experience so these users keep Googling. And if you can give users that best experience, Google will love you. Okay? SEO, simple. All right, we're going to move on to strategy number 2, which is blogging. Blogging is the easiest, low-hanging fruit of the content marketing world because literally anyone can do it, and all you need is a website. So the exposure opportunities over here are endless. People think like, oh, I have to write this long-form content, this blog, I'm not a writer, this sucks, whatever. Like I just said, maybe you don't want to write such a long post of how to write website copy. Maybe you're comparing, Hunter Douglas blinds to, I was going to say Sherwin-Williams. That's not blinds, that's paint. Whatever. The interior designers in the room are like, does this girl know what she's talking about? I swear I actually don't know anything. But maybe you're comparing 2 different things. Maybe you're explaining, why the best cleaning solution is right for your home. Or maybe you're explaining, 3 weight loss tricks that will never work. Whatever it is, your blog doesn't have to be that serious. It just has to be about something that your ideal clients want to learn about or read about. So this is how it works. Step 1, person searches for something they're interested in learning more about. Step number 2, this person finds your blog on Google, or if you're really advanced, on Pinterest. Step number 3, they read it and realize how cool and smart and expert you are. And then step number 4, they binge your blog, they subscribe to your list, or they stalk your site, or they hire you. Simple, okay? That's all you need to focus on. We have one thing here. Like I said, blogging is a whole ass thing, so we're going to move on. When you're writing content that you hope will attract these people, this is what I want you to focus on if you're thinking about blogging. So, which questions do people ask me often, and what did I wish they knew about this? What's the hardest part about this thing, and how can I simplify it? And then what will make them feel like they got something out of the blog? Like, what's the clear next step they can take? So if you're sitting there like, okay, this girl's telling me to blog, I barely know what that is, what should I do? Think about the last client meeting that you had. What did they ask you? What did they want to know? Maybe it was a discovery meeting. Maybe you had a consultation with them and they're debating if they want to work with you. What did they ask? What are they curious about? What are they saying about how they feel right now? Like if I get on a discovery call with someone who wants to, hire me to write their website for them, they might say, oh, my website just doesn't sound like me at all, and I'm not getting any leads or clients from it, and I know that I want to work with a copywriter, but I've worked with other people in the past and they just haven't been able to, nail my brand voice. I might recognize that as an objection to working with me, and I might use that, as a tool, and I might write a blog post of how I'll help, define your brand voice, or what you need to know before defining your brand voice, or 3 things that you need to believe before working with a copywriter. So yeah, there's an SEO benefit, but there's also the benefit of you can answer every single one of your ideal clients' questions before they even have to ask you if you write a blog post about it. So again, all of these topics are super high level because Russ only gave me 30 minutes and I could teach, like he said, a whole day about blogging. So if you have questions, you let me know, but this is your starting point. And like I said, I'm going to send you these slides after the fact, so don't feel like you need to take notes about it or whatever. But these are the things that, like I said, I want you to think about. So what do people ask you? What are people struggling with? What else are your readers searching for? This is what I call an industry adjacent topic. So I'm not just going to write about website copy all day. That's boring. And also, what if my people aren't searching for website copy? What if they don't know they need a website copywriter yet? They might know they need a website designer. Maybe I'm going to talk about the best templates to buy. Maybe I'm going to talk about, if I'm an interior designer, maybe I'm going to talk about the best places to live. Maybe I'm going to talk about, the best communities in Massachusetts to live. Maybe they didn't buy their house yet, but once they buy their house, they're going to go, search for interior design stuff. Or maybe if I, am a health coach, I'm going to blog about recipes, healthy recipes, and they're going to find me through that. So an industry adjacent post, this would work for social too, by the way. Anything you're posting industry adjacent would get somebody who's interested in that, who might also be interested in what you have on your site, and then they know you. A couple other things. What do you wish your audience and clients knew? How can you share more info about what you do with your readers? Anything educational would be a great blog post. So if you want blog post ideas, come up to me after this. I can help you think of 5 in 1 minute. Okay, final strategy is email marketing. Email marketing is one of the best content marketing tools because it's one of the most effective ways to grow an engaged community of those followers who are ride or die, who love you and support you and your brand. So this is how it works. Step number 1, somebody either subscribes to your email list, like through your newsletter often, or they download what's called a lead magnet. So you've seen this before, probably on Pinterest. Oh, 5 free, fall recipes, blah, like easy crock pot meals, whatever. And then suddenly you get emails from that recipe blogger every week. That's what we're talking about. Step number 2 is this person reads your welcome sequence, which is a set of emails that's like, hey, I'm Sara, thanks for subscribing. Here's your free thing. Here's your, homepage how-to checklist. Then the next day, me again, hi, remember that girl from the homepage how-to checklist? I'm a website copywriter, blah, blah, whatever. Maybe I'll share some blog posts with you.
You get it. You've received this before in your life. Step number 3, they start reading your newsletter, which is a weekly email that you'll send on the regular, which links to your website, your blog, your services, the class you're teaching, whatever call to action you want them to take. Step number 4, website traffic, leads, sales. You get the picture. So this is the one thing you need to start with. Like I said, email marketing could be and is an entire course that I teach. So the best lead magnets, if you're wanting to create something that's super aligned, you want to get more people on your email list, are aligned with your core offerings. So your services, your products, your resources, they're centered around something you actually want to do and are qualified to educate your community on. They're about a topic you can comfortably answer questions about, and they're relevant to the subject or topic you want to be known for. So like I said, I'm a website copywriter. I have a lead magnet, so a freebie, that is about your homepage how-to. So if you are interested in learning more about how to write your homepage, I have a checklist for you with examples. That's my free thing. That's me being like, hey, I'll give you this free little thing if you give me your email and then let me email you every single week. And then, you know, you're going to be on my email list. You're going to read maybe some stories that make you clutch your pearls if you're on my email list. And then I'm going to give you some tips. And then maybe, you know, in a month when I launch the workshop that I'm teaching, you're like, oh, I actually really like all the free tips she's been giving me. Yeah, I do think I want to go to her newsletter storytelling workshop next Thursday, whatever. I'll give her $77 for that. Or I've had people sit on my email list for 6 months, read all my emails, and then reach out to hire me because they liked my writing. Or I've had people go through 3 years of being on my email list and then say, you know what, I finally have the money to work with her now. Cool, like let me do it. So it's a good way to get people interested and to get people, you know, to know you. So these are some good formats for your lead magnet. You could make a PDF guide, you could make a checklist, it could be a video tutorial, a template, a free lesson, could be anything. Like I said, I'm a website copywriter. It makes sense for me to have a free thing about website copy. If you're an interior designer, maybe it makes sense for you to have like paint colors to use for a coastal home, or like paint colors to use for every home's aesthetic. Maybe if you are a cleaning service, it makes sense for a spring cleaning checklist to be your either blog post or lead magnet. If you're a health coach, maybe it's 3 morning routine to make you feel better, that you can start today. Whatever reason. Whatever thing you want to share, whatever format is easiest for you, that would be great for a lead magnet. So these 3 easy free marketing strategies, SEO, blogging, and email marketing, will help people get your people to your site. Like, what time is it? How long have I been yapping? Okay, but if I promise I'll be quick. If I can give you some website copy tips real fast, none of that's going to matter if your website copy is trash. So don't worry, I'm not going to yap for much longer. I'm getting the eyes. Okay, so how will you convince your next dream client to invest in you? You're going to go from that to that, okay? So you're going to go from confused to millionaire if you follow these really quick tips. And like I said, I'm going to send you these, so I don't have time to go over all of them. But just know the benefits of having website copy are endless. I won't go over, all of the reasons, but essentially it helps people get to know you, makes their decision to work with you and buy from you so much easier because it does the hard work of selling for you. You have experienced this in your life before when people ask you the dumb question that you're like, girl, please, like this was on my site. Or you have answered the same question over and over and over again on consultations. You're like, oh, I wish I just had a place where somebody could read all of these answers first. Your website copy does that for you. And it also lets you showcase your personality, lets you, have a place where people can read your reviews, see your work. Having a website is great. So it's as simple as saying the right thing at the right time to the right person. You don't need to screenshot this because I'm going to send it to you. But when you're writing your website copy, you want to make sure that people actually get it. People actually care. It's an experience they can relate to. You want to make them feel seen. That is your goal. So I'm going to skip through these few tips here because, like I said, I'm going to send you these tips after the fact because, like I said, I've never been forced to fit into 30 minutes before. But if you really want to learn how to make your website work for you, I'm your girl. Like I said, I'm website girl. If you want to scan this QR code, I'll give you a second to do that. If you guys want to, I will give you the presentation after that. And then, like I said, you can either come up to me after this or respond to the email here and send me your site, and I will tell you how you can make it better. But yeah, if I were you, I think a private conversation after this for 2 minutes would be helpful, just so we can talk about what would make you more visible online. So that's all I got for you. Ooh, thanks for viewing. Hold on, wait. Russ, SOS, there we go. But yeah, thanks. Any quick questions for me before we move on to Dustin? I know we do have a Q&A after this, but if anything's pressing or you don't want to forget. That was a lot of info once.
I just have a comment.
Okay.
Question.
Share.
And in full disclosure, Sara has written my website
Yes.
copy for me.
My only local client ever. For real.
But I just got a client from ChatGPT.
Oh.
Found
Interesting.
some keywords on my website, evidently she called me for a consultation.
Oh, so they went on ChatGPT and looked for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was using, yes.
Yep. Because all ChatGPT does is search the internet. So when Maureen is searchable, people were finding her. Yeah, that's cool. Love to hear that. So yeah. Thanks, guys. I'll pass it over to Dustin.
All right, right on. Yeah. That's my name, and that's my logo. My name is Dustin Hopkins. I run a company called Kingside, which builds websites and helps businesses make more money with their website, mostly local businesses. And that's because when I got started kind of in this digital marketing world, I started as a web developer about 9 years ago, and then had a marketing company, spread myself really thin, trying to do everything instead of what I was really good at. And through that process, one of my clients wanted to hire me to grow another business for them. And that's probably where most of you met me, was through that brand called MyBox. It was a moving and storage business. And I grew that business to $500,000 in revenue in 2 years with a single landing page, Google Ads, and social media. So when I transitioned back to marketing, I had all of this really great experience of being like, my marketing needs to pay for itself. Like I couldn't really afford to put money into this stuff if I didn't know exactly how I was going to get it back. So that's what I really want to focus on for my section of the talk is, how are you tracking results? We talked about a lot of different angles that you can come at digital marketing. And the truth is, it's going to be a mix of them that's going to be working for you. There is no silver bullet that every single business needs these things in this order. It's going to be some percentage of all of this stuff. And so if you're not tracking the effectiveness, you don't know which thing is outperforming the other, so you don't know where to divert your marketing dollars to get the best return. Does that make sense? Kind of the transition I want to make here. I knew that I was going to be behind a bunch of yappers, so I've only got 3 slides, but I want to really take the time to talk about them. And this is something that Sara touched on, where you could even imagine another block here that's how you want to spend your free time. So I want to take July off like Sara and live on the Cape. How many sales do I need to generate before that? How many leads is it going to take for me to generate that number of sales? How many impressions from these lead sources do I have to get to generate this number of leads? Is this making sense so far? I know I put it backwards because the thing that really matters is sales. That's the easiest thing to track. Did I make money, right? And then from there, this can get harder to track. So I'm going to talk about some of the tools, but first off, something that's not even mentioned here, I think it's on another slide, is a CRM. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah, what's a CRM?
Client retention management.
Yeah, client relation management tool. You can throw any R word in there, but it's a way to track who your clients are, how did they find you, and then it hopefully digs down into this pipeline. The CRM helps with this section. This is a prospect, this is a new lead. Somebody fills out a contact form on your website, or they call you. For most of us in here, we're local businesses. And so a lead is generally a contact form or a phone call. It could also be somebody reaching out to you on Meta or Instagram, but somebody is reaching out to you. The thing that's not here is prospect, which is more of a sales metric. That's saying, hey, I'm going to do some outreach, and these are the people that I think would be a good fit for a lead. In our kind of local space, we need people to reach out to us
it's kind of hard for us to reach out to homeowners, and it's in some cases not legal to or you have to go through some hoops in order to actually reach out to homeowners. You need to be putting your marketing out there so they reach out to you, right? So does anybody have any questions about this slide in particular? No, this is all kind of making sense, right? So let's talk about what are some of those key metrics that I think are important. And this can be really technical, so that's why I'm slowing down a little bit here. There's even something here mentioned, or something not mentioned here, called your ROAS, your return on ad spend. These are a bunch of acronyms that are thrown out that when you're talking to somebody in the business space, they're going to ask these numbers. If anybody's ever watched Shark Tank, and if you at some point in your career want to make an exit in your business and want to sell it, they're going to ask you these numbers. They're going to ask you, what is your cost per lead? What is your acquisition cost for a customer? If you're running ads, what is your return on ad spend? Those are some of the numbers that somebody on Shark Tank, when they're going through that process of evaluating a business, they're going to ask you these things. And there's this really good book. It's really short. It's called Built to Sell, which I think really encapsulates this idea that if you plan to make an exit at some point in your business and you want to sell, then you're going to need to know these numbers. And if you don't want to sell and you just want it to be a lifestyle business and you want it to be a cash flow asset for you, and you are focused on these numbers, it's going to be probably easier for you to take a July off. You know what I'm saying? So the first one is conversion rate. Conversion rate is, we're going to talk about from lead to sale, okay? And that's something that you should track with your sales team, or if you are the salesperson, everything should be organized in one place so you can see, all right, this is how many leads I got for a month. I got 100 leads in my CRM or in my Google Sheet or however you track your customers. I got 100 leads, but I closed 20 clients, so that's a 20% conversion rate. Now that could fluctuate based on time of year, it could fluctuate based on things, but if you're not tracking it, you're not on top of it, and if you do dip at some point and it's whoa, for the last 3 months, we've had a conversion rate of 10%, what's going on? You're not able to dig into the root cause of that, and you're not able to make an adjustment so you can pivot and get that back on track and maybe even increase it to 30%. So it has the formula here, sales divided by leads. Why does it matter? It tells you how effective your sales process is. Now, the impression to lead is how many visitors to your website do you need? How many impressions on your posts on social? And if all of them have clear calls to action, that are relevant to the content, relevant to the platform, then take someone from an impression, seeing your brand for the first time, to producing a lead. And those have many different timelines. If you are running an ad, you want that timeline pretty quick. You want somebody to go from they saw your ad and all they did was completed a contact form or called you. You want that to be very quick because you're paying for that click. You want to return instantly. But if you have a newsletter, Sara mentioned an example where somebody sits on the newsletter for 3 years before they're ready to commit. So all of these things have different timelines, but it's important to track each one so you know which one is more effective in the timeline that you're trying to implement. Not to the tools yet. Cost per lead is, hey, I'm investing, we talked a lot about great free ways to get your brand out there. But it costs you time, so I would even track that. What is your time worth? How much are you investing in social media? How much are you investing in blogging? If you are running ads, it's way easier to do that math. But just think about what you are investing in your marketing and what are you getting out of it. Ultimately, you can zoom way out and say, I'm spending this much time, this much money per month. These were our sales this month. Now, we've talked about this, we've talked about this so far in the talk. We can go so in depth with all of these things. We're just trying to scratch the surface. because there are some tools that help out with this. And it's mostly where I start with clients. Because I believe personally your website, Russ had that kind of funnel where like everything kind of leads to your website. Your website can be the main conversion place. Like, hey, go to my website. I've got pricing there. This is exactly how you purchase from me, right? And or fill out a lead form or call. And so I view the website as kind of that funnel from a data perspective. If everything is focused on sending somebody to my website and I've got analytics set up, or I'm tracking clicks to calls on my website, I'm tracking lead forms, I'm tracking traffic from Google Analytics, I'm able to see how many leads were generated each month, how many came from ads, and how many came from organic, which is so important. Otherwise, it's like I just got 100 leads and I have no idea where they came from. So we don't know where to put my investment. I have a client in Dallas, Texas, who is a tax attorney, so he helps people with IRS problems. Very competitive in Dallas. If he's not spending at least $4,000 a month in ads, he will not get a return because that's what everybody else is spending in Dallas. So we don't spend anything on ads, especially not right now with the tax deadline. We get a lot of people that are like asking about CPAs, which is not what he does. But regardless, he's investing wholeheartedly into organic because $4,000 is a lot, and we're also getting him, good amount of leads per month. But we were able to make that determination. It's not like we didn't run ads. We ran about $1,000, in an ad spend, and we found that the return on marketing spend was way more effective with organic than it was with ads in his example. So if you're not tracking it, I don't know how you're able to make those kinds of decisions. Otherwise you would say, well, I'm spending so much on organic and so much on ads and I'm getting leads, and he could have just as easily spent $1,000 again and again and again and just been wasting his money. So some other things like Meta Ads Manager. So if you are running ads, you're able to see through what's called the Meta Pixel. You install that on your website. You can see all the traffic that's coming from Meta, from your ads. What is your conversion rate from Meta? What's your conversion rate from organic and blogging? What's your conversion rate from the newsletter? All of these things can be tracked through your website. And of course, I'd love to go in depth and show you like all the techie, nerdy stuff that we do in the background to like make sure that is up there. But as with everything we've reviewed, this could either be a weekend project where you guys dive into it, purchase a course from Sara, look at some other education online and teach yourself these things, or reach out to a professional and have them install it. There are some miscellaneous ones here at the end, like Typeform, Jotform, some specific forms that add some extra analytics there. I did mention some CRMs because you can plug all of these things together and add to the tracking. My perspective on this stuff is I get it all set up for a client with a tool that like combines all of these data sources, and we create a dashboard so we can just once a month look at all the numbers that matter and make it really nice and easy. In the past, I've had to send over a meta report, something from SEMrush, something from Bright Local, something from the Google Analytics and the Google Search Console, and I'm just like sending a client like 6 reports that all mean nothing to you guys. So I've had to like over time be like, this is a single dashboard. So that's what I recommend, trying to keep it all kind of in one place. And I wanted to take, I know we're in 10 minutes about to enter like a wider kind of Q&A, but I want to take 10 minutes at the end because I've just got this one little slide about questions next to see, what have we retained so far and what do we have questions about tracking your marketing metrics?
Yeah, I have a question about the tracking and the apps and adding things to your website. And I know you're not a legal person, but maybe you've dealt with this. Is there any requirement for like a privacy policy or things like that to warn or let people know that you are tracking that data? Is there any sort of requirement for that? Like what should we be aware of for that kind of stuff?
Depends on industry. So I have a client that's in the mortgage industry, and they're very clear about a cookies policy. What are we tracking, through Google Analytics and stuff like that? So we had to, luckily through her, she is through a mortgage broker kind of company, and they provide the cookies policy. So we can just link to that, have a pop-up that says, hey, we are tracking cookies, accept, deny. So, but again, it just depends on the industry. They all have different levels of compliance. So if you're a local business, not doing anything generally with finance, you'll be all right. However, when we're talking about newsletter signups and even text message marketing, depending on the goals of the company, I always like to have a disclaimer in the lead form that says like, hey, we can add your email to our marketing list and we're in compliance for that kind of stuff. So it's a good practice to have a cookies policy. Every website should have a cookies terms of service. Do you exactly need a pop-up? Maybe you don't, depending on the industry. But I would also add some verbiage to your lead form that says like, hey, I have the right to email you.
Dustin, can I pop in real quick?
Of course.
Every website legally does have to have a terms and conditions and a privacy policy.
Yes.
So especially if you're collecting collecting emails, collecting information at all, and even if you're not, even if people are just browsing your site, you have to have those two documents. People just usually put them in the footer under something that says legal, or maybe you'll see it. It says terms and conditions and privacy policy. But if anybody needs a resource for that, I have a very discounted link from a lawyer that I work with that has templates for terms and conditions and privacy policy that I can send you.
Yes, and ChatGPT goes really far now too, and you can find
How much you care.
Boilerplate for different industry stuff. There's tons of resources out there for that stuff. Yeah,
So if I already have a website, I could just use Google and Google Business. I can use that to analyze.
Google Business Profile? Yeah, and I actually would like to take a quick step to talk about that too. So when we talked about SEO, I'll work kind of my way back to that answer. When we talked about SEO, we talked about a lot of great stuff about SEO, but we didn't talk about something about the different kinds of algorithms. So I'd really like to put it in two buckets. There's like national search results of SEO, and there's local search results for SEO. You can imagine that when Google was getting started and somebody said financial planner near me, and you had somebody in Texas who had a bomb SEO'd up website, they would come up for search results up here. And it's like, how am I supposed to work with this person? So Google created the Google Business Profile so you could register a business location and they had a verified address that connected to a website. So the near me search results were more contextualized to location. And those are similar algorithms but separate. Where in the national, something we didn't talk about is link building. Like there's this popularity contest going on with SEO where like if I get a link from Nike, like Google loves Nike. So if Nike likes me, then Google likes me. And on the local side, in the industry we call them crappy church links, which just means if you get links from other local businesses and local websites, you're seen as like a higher local reputation because all these nodes are kind of pointing to you. So when it comes to your website, making sure your Google Business Profile is optimized, posted on constantly, good amount of reviews, and is properly linked to your website will help you in local search results. And it also serves as a way to track calls, clicks to your website, all of those kind of impression metrics that we were talking about. A layer deeper than that, like have your Google Business Profile, that'll give you a little bit, but Google Analytics, Google Search Console are free. And in most websites, like in the back end, it's easy enough to like add them with some kind of tag. There's always, like if you have a Square, what's your website built on?
I have a server at home.
Mm-hmm. Is it built on like WordPress or Squarespace, or did you HTML
I'm not
it?
sure. It was just done, but I cannot make any more edits to it now.
Mm-hmm.
So
they may say like, so somebody built it for you?
Somebody I could hire, and you could do like an audit and see what would be my next edits, and to unconnect all the analytics and all that stuff you just talked.
Yeah, I would say that if you hired somebody to build your website, it will take them 15 minutes, 20 minutes to add these free tools, and they shouldn't charge you for that, and they should have already done that because it's so easy to do. But when it comes to...
So you add them in the code?
There are little bits of code that you add to the header. So if you go to Google Analytics or Google Search Console, the Google Analytics is code to your website. The Search Console is a little bit, it's like a text file added to your domain. So without going too technical, really whoever built your site should be able to do those things in 20 minutes.
I'm not a technical person, just like thinking about this. I was getting
No, I know. I'm trying not to go too deep on that stuff. That's why I'm saying, like, it really will take whoever built your site, it is their responsibility. And they may say, like, hey, I don't have any more edits remaining or whatever. Tell them if this wasn't done, it should have been done, and they should do that. You don't feel like you can't strong arm them and say, like, no, you should definitely have Google Analytics installed on your site.
Yeah. Say do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a design edit.
It's
a
not.
thing, like you said, a thing they should have done already. So it's super easy for them to do. So say, if it's not there, do it.
And to Russ's point, talking about earlier, make sure you're an owner on those accounts. So they should install it, and then make sure that your email is associated to that, and you're an owner.
Yeah, because you get monthly updates from Google Search Console. It tells you how many impressions you get, the keywords people are searching to find you, which of your links are the most popular. So you get some good info from them. So if you're not the owner, you won't get those emails.
Correct.
Or if you leave that company, they might like take that profile with them, and you'll lose access to
No,
that.
I am
All
the
that data.
owner. I just don't feel comfortable doing that.
Well, yeah, you could CC any of us on an email, and we'll tell them exactly what they need to do. Yeah, it's 20 minutes. It's free. Doesn't cost anybody anything. Yeah, that should be done for you. Yeah.
What's the like best way to think about the trade-off between making it easy to contact you, but also screening out some of the maybe unwanted calls, or emails when you get to the contact page?
I like, it depends on your goals. So like if your goals are like, I need 100 leads, I would start with like name, email, phone number, message, and you're going to get a lot. And then if you're getting too many, add some friction points. You know what I mean? Like always just start with quantity, generate this stuff, track it with all of these. And then if you feel like you're getting too much or too many kind of like crap leads, then you add a qualifier. And that'll start to reduce it. But I always like to err on the side of quantity and then dial it down. Then like starting with like, here's a contact form with like 5 qualifier questions, you're not getting any leads, and that's frustrating. Mm-hmm.
I get calls probably 3 or 4 times a week with people telling me that my Google business is not either claimed or Google Maps isn't coming up. And I know they're not from Google. And I'm pretty confident that it's on there, but is that something that I should be paying attention to?
Those are people prospecting you. You know, they just can go on Google and they can use a bot to comb Google business profiles and just do massive amounts of outreach for people that, you know, as Russ mentioned before, don't know how to do this themselves. And so they think, oh, maybe I am out of compliance and maybe whatever. You can ignore almost all of them, and you can do this 100% on your own. Mm-hmm. These are great questions. And I think my little 10-minute questions is up. We're right at 10, so we're open to questions from everybody else.
So Jeff asked a really good question.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal your thunder at all.
No,
Jeff
go
asked
ahead.
a great question, and I love Dustin's answer about pre-qualifying your leads. So if you just have name, subject, email, message, you'll get a lot of spam in there. It'll get a lot of random people. But if you have an optimized lead form, so which services are you interested in, what's your budget, all of that good stuff, obviously you'll get better leads. I just pulled up on Jeff's phone a blog post that I have about it, but if you got my little QR code, I can send you that blog post as well if you want to learn how to write a contact page or how to write a contact form so you'll get the best leads. I have the answer for you. So I can put that in my little email when I send you my slides. I have free info on how to write every page of your site.
And the little bonus on that is about spam. The thing is reCAPTCHA is what it's called. Mm-hmm. That adds a little button that says I'm not a robot. There's 2 versions. Version 3 will try to understand the behavior of a bot And then, but V2 is that checkbox. It's the simplest way to cut down on spam.
Yeah. And if you use a CRM, a lot of them have the capability of embedding a form from your CRM onto your site. So the lead form goes straight into your CRM. It goes right there. You don't have to like figure out how to create it on your site. So.
True. Yeah. And I did include make.com here and under the miscellaneous. So like sometimes you may not like the CRM form, but you can still connect them. So you can make your own custom form and just make it so it automatically goes right into your CRM.
Yeah. Zapier is another one.
Yeah, but Zapier is a little bit more expensive than Make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you've been using for the combining of the apps into a single dashboard?
No. We use something called Agency Analytics is a tool, but I use Make.com in a lot of my clients. I mean, you know, an email comes into the lead form and goes to the admin person, and that admin person has to copy and paste stuff into the CRM. I hate that. So I start to do my mental math of like, all right, that's going to take her, 10 minutes, every lead, that's 100 leads a week, and I'm like, how much time are you spending just copying and pasting?
Yeah.
So we do, almost everything is through Make.com automations.
But that's relative to your CRM. Like my CRM does all that. So I wouldn't need Make.com.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions for us?
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a website, but I know I was talking about landing pages, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
What
I
do
don't
you
have one. Do I need one?
Depends on it depends on what it's for. So what pages does your website have?
What is it?
Like home, about, services, contact. Like,
Yes.
Yes.
All
All the
of
way up. Do you
Yeah.
blog?
No.
Okay. Do you do anything other than serve people in that way? Like, do you have a course that you teach? It's anything extra other than what is already on your site that's not already there?
No.
Do you run ads?
On Facebook.
So I would say that most landing pages for local businesses start with ads. Mostly because, like, when you're paying for ads, you're paying for a click. You want a conversion. You want somebody to fill out that lead form. You don't want them to go click around and explore your site. You want a return on that. So, like, the main thing that we do to a landing page, and me personally, is we remove your, like, links in the nav bar. Like, there's only convert on that page. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a page that's specifically designed for a specific marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or like to purchase a specific thing. Like my
Yeah.
website copywriting course, you would want, that specific page is only about that. So I think our answer is you only need it if you're running ads to that specific thing. Like I have a client who is a wedding photographer in California, but she moved from here to California, from New York to California. So she was getting a ton of leads from over here because she was shooting at a bunch of locations over here. A ton of her blog posts were about venues over here, but she moved over there. So she wanted to get people to hire her over there, obviously. So she was like, can we make a mini version of my site as a landing page to specifically target California couples, and I'm going to run ads to that. So that's what we did. So that would be an example of, a landing page you could have for somebody that doesn't otherwise need one. But yeah, that's right.
And you guys could help me. My website is kind of old and outdated. It needs to be upgraded.
What's it hosted on, do you know? Or what did you use to make it?
Wix.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you do Wix? I don't do Wix.
Yeah, we always.
We would both tell you.
It needs a refresh.
Yeah,
So, do you
it's
guys
very
do
easy
that?
to switch website hosting platforms.
Yeah,
so we're over
super.
here like, thanks. But you can choose anything else. Yeah. So I write the words and Dustin designs and develops. I don't do any design. But.
We get, and we can work within Wix. We meet everybody where they're at. It's just, it's not my
That works
preferred
with me anyway.
platform, but yeah.
But we can have a conversation and figure out where to go from
For
there.
sure.
Of course.
Because I think all the content is on there. It just needs to be brought up to the
Yeah,
from
that's
the 80s to here. You know what I mean?
that's our bread and
For
butter.
sure.
Right?
For
Yeah.
sure. Cool. Any other questions for us, Marie?
What is your preferred platform?
Mine is Show It. That's
Mine
his
is-
Webflow.
Yeah.
I suppose that.
Yours is what?
Webflow.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I have a question for Russ.
Go ahead.
Talk to me about scheduling, pre-scheduling.
Pre-scheduling posts. It's all content calendars. So, like I just lay out a month. Like I had ChatGPT make a template for a content calendar with 3 posts a week for 2025. So it lays out 3 posts a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 posts a month. So it's more manageable. You're like, all right, 12 posts a month. I have 8 services I want to talk about, and 2 things going on, and whatever. Like it's not that hard to fill up 12 posts, as long as you're doing it way in advance. So you start filling out your May and June calendar early and go, oh, we've got these things going on. These are going to be on my 12 posts, and then you just have to make those posts. That's the hardest part. It's like the actual time. It's easy to say, like, I'm going to do a graphic about this service, a graphic about that service, then you have to go make the graphics. That's like my whole job working with clients, is every month we do a call, we look at the content calendar, I try to get them to start planning further and further in advance over time. Like my dream client tells me what they have going on 6 months from now, so I can start making videos next month, and we're way ahead and there's never any emergencies. So that's the whole like point of scheduling. It's just so it's never panic. The posts that you're putting out this week you made 2 months ago. And there's always room for like, oh, I'm at this event today, so I'm going to post stories, or I'm going to do quick cell phone pictures of something I did this week. That's always in play. But like committing to that 1, 2, 3 posts a week ahead of time is like where really all of it's like going to the gym. It's like you have to get those like weekly workouts in, and then if anything on top of that's great. But you have to commit to that process. I schedule everything on platform. So like for Facebook and Instagram, I go through the Meta Business Suite. I post directly to the Google Business Profile, directly to LinkedIn. I don't like using schedulers, like Hootsuite was a big one, Buffer. I don't like those. The reason why is because Facebook itself updates so regularly that it's like basically broken half the time anyway, and buttons move around, and every day you go in, you have to troubleshoot the platform itself. So for a third-party platform to plug into what updates Meta's already making, it's almost guaranteed that that's going to be broken, or like the formatting is going to get messed up. So to make sure that the post goes out properly, the video is formatted right, the caption's how you want it on Facebook and on Instagram, I do everything through the platform.
And that you can only do 30 days in advance?
I think it's like 6 weeks. It used to be infinite.
3 months.
Oh yeah, it used to be infinite. Like when I first started, we were scheduling posts out 12 months ahead of time. It was awesome. And then they were like, no, 3 months. And now it's like 6 weeks. But that's why the content calendar is so valuable, because I have a Google Doc, so I can make all the posts and write all the captions and have it all prepped for me, so that when that 6 week cycle's up and I can start scheduling those posts out, I'm just copy and pasting captions I already wrote, and I'm uploading graphics I already made. That is like kind of the secret. Is just everything has to be pre-planned, scheduled out ahead of time to the best of your ability. It's harder, and it's easier said than done, and it's hard for certain businesses. But that's really the secret.
Thank you.
Of course.
I have a question. Should we be posting, I know you said 3 times a week, but is it better to post 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
Yeah, 100%. 4 times a day.
Multiple times a day.
As much good stuff as possible. Yeah, depends on what you do.
I don't want to
I own a cleaning company.
True.
So.
It depends on the type of post and how much you post. So Russ would not like the amount.
I'm typically once a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I kind of give the weekends my...
Yeah.
But I always go to sustainability. I always go to like, what can you actually commit to? Because every business, you only have a set amount of time, you only have a set amount of energy, ideas, whatever. So if it's 1 post a week for 6 months, I want you to actually do that 1 post a week for 6 months. Until you get to the point where you're like, I actually have the time for 2 posts a week. And then I actually have the time for 3 posts a week. That's how you grow. The sporadic, like I'm all in on social media this quarter, and then you burn out. That's the death sentence for everybody on social media. The consistency is key. So I'm always like budget-wise too. I undersell the crap out of myself because I'm always like, don't spend that much. Spend half of that. That way the pressure's off, and we can actually do this consistently for like a year without panicking. Because the organic social media tracking is harder. It's not like a direct return on ad spend like you get with Facebook and Google ads, where you're sending to a landing page, you're getting leads, you can track the leads. Organic is just like enhancing what we're already doing for networking, basically. So you're going for like one connection after another. It's more about that than it is about being perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Any other cues?
Yeah, we have plenty of time. We have like 20, 30 minutes.
I have a question. So some businesses are targeting home users and individual people, and some businesses are targeting other businesses. Mm-hmm. Do the strategies change at all when you're targeting businesses versus targeting home users? Like
strategy definitely changes, but the concepts don't.
I mean, in terms of messaging, which is what I do, it's going to change because you're going to say different things. Like I'm saying different things to business owners than I would to like a person. Like I'm marketing B2B because obviously if you're a business owner, that's when you need me. I also think that people have a different relationship with content. Like if you're selling a product, nobody's engaging with your Instagram the way they are if you're a person marketing to a person. So I think maybe the amount that you're posting could be similar, but the things you're actually saying are going to vary drastically.
And that's where auditing where you're actually at, who you actually are in the industry, what they actually want, who you're like defining your target audience is like the number one priority. That's like day one working with any of us is like, who are we talking to?
Yeah.
Like, why do they care about you?
And what do they need to know? And why do you get to be the one to say that to them?
Yeah.
And, you know, like I was mentioning with compliance, like it's harder to reach out to homeowners and be like, hey, do you need cleaning services? You know?
Yeah.
But you can reach out to businesses. You can solicit businesses, you know? So, like, it does add a little bit of compliance, too. Mm-hmm. So if you are B2C, they got to reach out to you. And that's why marketing is important. Because you're putting yourself out there and allowing them to make the decision. They have to give that authorization. I'm giving you my info so you can reach out to me.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do that with B2B. You can just give them a call.
True. I find that people, like if I were to go cold pitch someone on my services right now, they wouldn't value my expertise as much as somebody who found me and was actively looking for me. Like if I was like trying to sell any of you on working with me, then you wouldn't understand my process as well. You wouldn't be like at the right spot that you need to be in to believe that this is going to be so worth it for you. So when they find you, they're already a qualified customer. They're already interested in what you're going to do. Like let's say we are using cleaning services as an example. Like if you knock on doors like, hey, I could clean your house, then somebody might be like, okay, like cool, sounds good. But if somebody's like, shit, my house is dirty, I need some cleaning services, they're going to look for you, find you, and be like, I need your help right now. Like, there's actually mold in my shower. I'm not talking about my shower. My shower is clean. No, but if think about it, you're knocking on these doors, okay, I offer cleaning services, then they're going to expect a lot from you, right? They're going to be like, okay, well, so you're going to come here tomorrow, and I'm going to pay you $3, and then you're going to clean everything with your hands and knees with a toothbrush. Like, they're not at the right point you need them to be at to invest. The only time ever that I've ever was called cold pitch myself in the last 6 years is there was an influencer I love. She was launching a course, and I just saw it. I knew it was happening. So I DM'd her, and I was like, hey, I see that you're launching a course. Like, I guess that you're doing that. Like, that was my prediction. You're going to need a sales page, which is just essentially a long-ass website selling one thing. So I was right, and then she, signed on to work with me, which is really cool because I've been watching her for like 11 years, and I was feeling famous that I got to talk to her and not watch her on YouTube. And I wrote her a course sales page for her, but she didn't get it. She didn't understand that I was in charge, I'm the expert here, this is my process, whatever. So I was writing a sales page and then a bunch of emails to sell this course to her audience. And her assistant, before I even finished the sales page, was like, hey, can we have email 1? I was like, girl, what? No, I didn't write email 1 yet. I'm writing the sales page first. We need to refine the messaging. You need to make sure you like the way I'm selling this before I'm going to write 20 emails using the same messaging framework to sell this thing. You can't have email 1. Like, they didn't understand the process at all because I reached out to them. And in that way, you're almost coming out with a little desperate energy. Like, hey, can I please write your sales page? Whereas now I book out 6 months in advance, and people are coming to work with me, and they're all pre-qualified leads that really, really are interested in what I'm doing. So we focus on all of that educational content of things that I was sharing with, finding who you're talking to, and then saying things that they actually want to read. They're going to come to you, and then they're going to be better clients because of it.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point. That just to sum this whole thing up, marketing puts you more in control of that sales process.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing the outreach, you're coming in at a lower, hierarchy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if somebody's reaching out to you, levels the playing field.
Yeah, they have a different stage of awareness. Like they are aware that they need someone like you, and you want to be in a point where there's 5 stages of awareness in marketing. I won't get into all of it, but the stage of awareness we want everyone to be is solution aware or product aware, where they already know, like, I need a website copywriter, I'm just going to decide which one. Or when they're product aware, they're like, I want between the lines copywriting. So those are the places we want them to be. Maybe your people are problem aware, where they're like, I'm getting no clients, I'm making no money, I'm getting no leads, my website's trash. Maybe they need to be educated to believe that they need a website copywriter. That's how we get them from problem aware to solution aware. But all of my people are solution aware. They're just deciding who to hire, and then a really great website is convincing them. Maybe they think I'm cool because I'm ranked first on Google, and then they pick me, and then they're product aware, and then I give you their money, and I write their website, and they make $1 million too.
And it can depend on the product you're selling.
Yeah.
So like, we have some high-end products and I have some low-end products. And those are the ones that I can do outreach and sales because it's more transactional, more deliverable-based than like outcome-based. So I'm not going to waste my time kind of trying to catch somebody up on my process and have them meet me here. But I can do sales for these products that I have.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think a lot. Whatever I do, I think brand awareness. Because when they're ready, I want to be top of mind.
I've seen your signs.
Oh, so there. There you go. So anything I do, the signs, like my community outreach, anything. Well, I love doing that, but the brand awareness, and when they're ready, I'm consistently thinking brand awareness.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm assuming that's a good approach. It's been working so far.
Sure. Yeah, I think if you only did that and you didn't have the place where they could then go find you, like if I saw your sign, then I Googled you and you didn't come up, or I looked for your social and you weren't there, you know what I mean? Or if you didn't have a site, I'm a website girl, so I get pissed when people don't have a website, or don't have a website with the right information. So I'm like, I just went through all this effort to find you specifically. Where you at? But that's my only, caveat to that is, brand awareness, but make sure you're in the places that matter too.
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking now, oh, you don't need a website. I've heard it, and I say, well, I think Google really likes a website, so I have one of my clients say, you don't need a website, and I was like,
tell them to come talk to me. No, there's some businesses that maybe don't, right? Like maybe it's less important for Sweets and Java to have a website than it is for me, right? Like I can walk into the store and get my, protein shake that I might get after this. And that's a little bit less important for them to have that online presence because they're a brick and mortar store. So it depends on what your industry is. I mean, I'd argue everyone should have one. Does everyone need a website copywriter with a website with 1 million pages? My website has 120 pages. Nobody in this room needs that, but I do. So I think there are time and place, but it's good to have that presence, even if it's just a one-pager, even if it's just a place where you exist online. You don't need a ridiculously robust one, but I would argue that you need one.
I would say that exact same thing for like the legit check.
Yeah.
Like somebody finds you and it's like it's a legitimacy thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be a lot. A landing page. Again, I grew a moving business with a single page. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be a lot.
I would think that you're brand new if you don't have a website too. Like you're either really, really old or completely brand new if you don't have a site. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't want to work with you on either ends of the spectrum. Unless,
I would also come back to SEO too.
Yeah.
Because like the age of your domain and how long it has been on the internet also impacts your rankings.
Yeah.
So like, but at least just have the domain. That's all I'm saying. Having a website live and having like legitimate emails, that say like at mycompanyname.com.
Yeah.
Like just doing that and having a one pager, just getting that done for the long runs.
And a website is a very small investment. I feel there might be people in this room who have worked with, a WordPress designer that's going to host your site, and then you pay all this money. Like a website does not have to cost more than $300 a year for your website hosting platform, and a domain costs $20. So a website is not a big investment. Sure, if you hire me and Dustin, maybe it is. I actually don't know your prices, but if you hire me, it's a big investment. But it doesn't have to be, right? Like it could be a couple $100. So the barrier to entry is quite low. And it's worth it. And it's a business expense.
You just mentioned that a domain costs $20.
Yeah.
So I have a domain, but the name of my business is a little squirrely in that my website is sweets, the letter N, java.com, but a previous website developer created sweets and java.com.net, both of them. But along the process of when I switched over to the Sweets and Java, or back to the Sweets and Java, the Sweets and Java was being forwarded to Sweets and Java. Somewhere along the lines, I must not have paid for it or whatever, and now it comes up as a forbidden site to me. So I think it's out there and it's not claimed, but some B2B sent me a letter and said for like $300 I can get this. How do I get it for less than $300?
I'm gonna look up right
now. Talk to the past developer. So like it went like he just didn't, or they just didn't.
I think he dropped everything on it.
So you come up on Google.
Yeah.
Sweets and.
Yep, Sweets and.
No, you have to type in the domain.
I know, I'm just saying I went to Google her to make sure she came up on Google, because nobody's going to type in sweetsandjava.com. I mean, maybe they will, but they would probably Google it first, so now let's do Sweets and.
It comes up Sweets and.
Okay. So
I see. The way to fix this temporarily is called a 301 redirect. where it's through your Google Search Console. As long as it's installed to your domain, you can add what it's called a 301 redirect. So making sure that that does not come up anymore.
So, and I don't have to like claim or own the suites and Java.
Someone owns it.
Yeah, someone owns it. Because I just checked if I could buy it.
And I'll bet you it's your past developer.
Yeah.
So you can say like, hey, give me that.
Yeah. Which you don't need a developer. Sorry, you don't need a developer to get a website.
I'm sorry?
Can I find out who owns it without contacting them?
How do I?
It's called ICANN lookup. INN.
Sometimes there's private registry, so sometimes you have to deal with another party
lookup
to get access to them, find out who it is.
Launchpad.
It sounds like they own the domain and they're holding it hostage to sell to somebody. I ran into
Launchpad?
looking for my.
That's where it's.
Who is it?
Launchpad?
So whoever the developer is using a tool called Launchpad to like manage their domains. So you can say to them like, hey, I can see the name servers are with Launchpad. They might have.
So it is.
They have contact. Oh no, they don't. The email.
Yeah, you can pay for privacy. Privacy usually comes free nowadays.
I'm pretty sure it's him because he used Launchpad.
Okay. Then he owns the domain.
So do I have to buy it from him, or he just releases it?
If you're a domain, most of them give privacy for free nowadays, so you can't look somebody
So
up.
if I did like.
Any other questions?
You
Well,
can see
they
if you
look that stuff up. We still have like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you should.
You mentioned having milestones, setting yourself milestones for all of this, and somebody else mentioned having like tracking your goals and tracking how you're doing. Getting started, what would be good milestones to set for yourself? Like, what are the examples of the things that you should be looking at to set for ourselves for milestones?
Good question.
You talk about doing as many posts as you can logistically without burning yourself out.
So, like, the simplest metric that I always ask people, like, do you know these numbers? Like, on my initial consultation, do you know these numbers? Do you know how many people on your website it takes to get one lead? Like, goes back to Dustin's chart. How many people? Like 1,000 people, and you get one lead? And then how many leads do you need to get one customer?
How do you track right now? Do you have like a Google Sheet or a CRM?
I don't track anything.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's start with when you get a customer.
How should he start there?
I like Google Sheets. You know, my background's in Excel. I think it's super simple to get started. There's no friction there. Just like customer name, customer info, name, email, phone number. How'd you find me? You know,
So
have
you
that
would
conversation.
Have to tell them that information. Like
Yeah.
on his lead form.
I would start start with sales is what I'm saying. Start with tracking your
Oh,
sales.
so you've already made.
Yeah, like do you have like do you track your sales?
So I do IT services.
Yep.
I started only a couple months ago. I mean, I've been in IT for years, but I started the company a couple months ago. The two companies that I work with regularly now are prior contacts, people I used to work with back in the day.
Yep.
My father-in-law still works there as an employee for health insurance, and he wanted to stop doing IT. So he said, hey, my son-in-law is doing this, and he connected me with them to pitch to them and everything. So that's how I have my two current clients.
I mean, you're in a great place where you're starting from scratch now.
Yeah.
Now the data collection
My website
starts.
is being built currently, and we're already talking about analytics, adding things like Google
So
Analytics. and
it's
things
even
like
as
that.
simple as like I'll show you. You can just put this question.
So right now it's more just organic tracking.
Yep.
So like I have somebody who referred me, and so I'm just mentally tracking that right now.
Yeah, keep all of your sales and your customers in one place, and then have like a how you found me thing.
Yeah, like this.
Which
like how did you hear about me right here? That's it.
yes, which I would still have the conversation, you know, because they'll always check Google here, and then like it could be something else, and you know, but
They won't check Google if they found you on Instagram, and Instagram was an option.
sometimes I'm you know, in the tech world, I don't trust people as much. I like the data, you know, somebody could be lazy and just check a box, you know what I mean? I would rather track where that traffic came from and be like, all right, they checked Google, but they definitely came from Instagram.
And if they're working with you, you can definitely ask them.
Yeah, and that's
speak to them. It's not like a random sale.
Exactly. Start with tracking your sales, and then track your leads. So, like, have a separate Google sheet for, like, leads. You know, that's like, this person reached out to me, you know, came from my contact form, you know, came from Instagram, came from wherever. Yeah. And just have them as two separate pages on the same Google sheet.
I use Notion to do it, and I track their name, their date they inquired, what they inquired about, where they found me, and then whether or not they booked a discovery call, if they worked with me, all that stuff.
And then like the next elevation is like getting a CRM, and that'll track all that for you. But like Google Sheets, the easiest way to get started.
The more data you
collect. Changed my business.
Yeah,
it's so nice.
I've only been in it a year. I use one specifically for a maid service called Maid.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not. No. Now I'm like, how did I live without this?
No, it's required. So nice. And like,
it does all
like HubSpot is free too. It's like the easiest way to, just a CRM that is not industry specific. Yeah, HubSpot's free.
And free is always fabulous.
Yes, but then careful because HubSpot can get expensive. You know what I mean? But there is a free version to just max that out.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of industry you're in. Which one's best for you?
Who knew there was so many when I was looking?
Yeah, there's a ton.
That was a track sheet in itself.
Yeah, no, you're so right. That's its own thing.
Okay. Unless you guys have any other questions for us, thanks for coming.
That was awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice.